Alright, this video is about whether or not shows like Nat Geo's Doomsday Preppers don't kind of inspire a little bit of a breakdown in society. If it doesn't inspire the criminal class of people to go after uh, people who have prepared and put things away during a major catastrophe. Um, I was reading an article on the internet written by one of the disaster preparedness coordinators, managers, whatever. And she was talking about how preppers are selfish because they just worry about themselves. And then apparently she got a bunch of bad publicity for it and put out another blog talking about how, not all preppers were these selfish isolationists. And she went about classifying 5 different types of preppers, or 5 different types of people in a disaster, I should say. The first was the unprepared, that have no preparation whatsoever. The second, she said, was the sort of prepared. They have, a 3-day prep supply because it's government recommended. Which kind of threw me off because I thought the government recommended 2 weeks, not 3 days, but no, whatever. Then the disaster prepared, which have a 3 to 6 month supply of food and preps put away. Then your doomsday preppers, which have over a year of food. And then your other doomsday preppers, which are have over a year's worth of food. And they're complete isolationists. They are only worried about them and their families. They're not doing anything for the community. How dare they use their hard work and their money and their efforts to, take care of themselves and not worry about the community? Sarcasm, by the way. Well, it got me to thinking, and I got to reading the whole little article, well, at least part of it, and something kind of occurred to me. I think there's actually 6 different types of people you're going to encounter in a disaster. You can tell this is a little bit based off of her list of people. Okay. One is the completely unprepared. These are what most people in survival forums refer to as the zombies. They don't think, they just live for the moment. They're more concerned with what's on TV or what looks cool than actually living. They expect society and the government and everything else to take care of them. Then you have your sort of prepared with your, we'll just say 3-day to 2-week supply of food and preparations. Your disaster prepared with your 3 to 6 months worth of food and preps. And then your doomsday preppers with your year or more of preparation. And then you have another type of doomsday prepper. I'm not going to call these the selfish isolationists. I'm going to call them the militants, the warlords, if you will. These are the guys who have the idea that when society breaks down, when there's a major catastrophe, that they're going to go out and pretty much establish themselves as localized warlords. The neighborhood duke or king or whatever. And then you have the sort of prepared with guns. These are people who, once their food supply runs out, they're going to be robbing everyone else. Unlike the rest of the sort of prepared people, these people have guns. That's my personal experience, that the sort of prepared and the unprepared are basically in the same spot after 2 weeks. They're unprepared. So, the idea is that, you have a major catastrophe. You're going to have people with no preparation whatsoever. They're going to be breaking into places, stealing things. I'm a little bit more accepting of a guy stealing food than I am, a guy stealing a big screen TV. I mean, you can't live without food. You can't live without water. I understand that. I'm a little bit accepting of that, not so much that I think is morally right, but that, I understand that given the choice of going to jail and spending time in jail or stealing something that's going to keep you alive, kind of that whole living in jail or dying issue is motivation to violate the law. and to do what you have to survive. I kind of understand that. Now the guys want to go steal big screen TVs. I don't see how stealing a big screen TV can be excusable as something you can't live without. I mean, uh, just tell me. I mean, hell, in a disaster, you're probably going to have power anyway, so I know your cable's not going to work. I'm just saying. Uh, Now, when okay, a little sidetrack. Now, when you get into this a bit, the idea of uh, the unprepared, that they're going to be out, and if necessary, using violence to gather resources. And a lot of people might be like, oh, well, if they don't have guns, then they can't do anything. Right, because people never have killed anyone with hammers, machetes, hatchets, swords, knives, rocks, any of that stuff. Uh, the fact of the matter is, a gun might give somebody a sense of empowerment because they have a gun, but it's not a death ray. And to be quite honest with you, you might get shot, but I'm pretty sure at point blank range, getting shot and you have a machete or a hatchet or something, you can do just as much damage or more damage, to be honest with you, to the other guy with the gun, with said uh, hatchet or machete or axe or whatever. Um, but it's, well, being willing to go ahead and take your chances on getting shot to take the guy out. It's a risk reward thing. But it comes down like this, in a disaster, even if it's a localized disaster. Now, we're not talking major catastrophic meltdown of society. We're talking about a localized disaster. Even in a localized disaster, the unprepared are going to be potentially a threat. They're going to steal, lie, manipulate, and that's the good stuff. The bad stuff comes down to assault, battery, murder, and that's not even counting the sickos where you have rape and all the other sexual offenses listed in there. What you're looking at is a catastrophe, to be honest with you. This is my assessment. I think the first 24 to the first day to the first, we'll say the first 1 to 15 days after the disaster are going to be the most crucial. And they're going to be the most chaotic. This has been the case with Katrina. This is the case of some of the reports that came in from Sandy. Before the government can get there and save the day and fix everybody and all the fantasy stuff that you think is going to happen, what it basically boils down to is that in that first 1 to 15 days, there's going to be chaos, there's going to be threats, and you're going to have people with guns. And then after that, you might have, a few little armed people running around, but you're going to have a lot of people who are just going to be fighting and beating on each other and using melee weapons and everything else to get things that they didn't have. You're going to have your unprepared out there. And at the end of that 15 days, you're going to have another set of unprepared. So in that first month, the first 30 days, it's going to be more chaotic than anything else. Your disaster prepared people, all the people who have prepared to deal with things like Superstorm Sandy and Katrina and stuff like that, you guys need to seriously consider owning guns if you don't already. Like I said, guns aren't really a sense of empowerment thing. You don't need a gun to be violent, but a gun tends to scare more people away than, standing there with a kitchen knife. It gives you something to deal with security to defend yourself. And see, here's the thing about it. If it was a simple matter of somebody coming in and stealing food, for one, really, to be honest with me, you wouldn't have to. If I had over a year's worth of food, I do have over a year's worth of food, I would give you some. Just so you wouldn't have to steal it. Because when you steal it, I'm going to think of you as a threat. When you come through my window, you're a threat. I don't care if you just intended to steal a can of Campbell's soup. You're entering my home uninvited, and to me, you're a threat. I will treat you like a threat. Now, whether or not I kill you, or using it towards a violence against you is based on how you're going to deal with me treating you as a threat. If, I treat you as a threat, tell you to get the hell out, brandish a weapon, and you want to challenge me or threaten me back, I'm not going to threat. We're not going to have any talk. There's going to be no posturing. I'm just going to take you out. And here's the thing about I don't like that. I know I can do that. I know I have the mentality that I can kill a person if I want to. You know, I've already mentioned the whole hammer incident and the fact that if I'll do that to somebody that I love like a brother, you can imagine what I'll do to somebody I hate. But at the same time, the very same time, I don't want to be that guy. That guy's an asshole. That guy is not going to help anyone. That guy's not going to help me. He's not going to bring other people around me. I'm not going to have that human social contact I want because everyone's going to be scared shitless that I might snap and bludgeon them with a hammer, or I might kill them, or I might seriously hurt them. See, people respect power, but they also fear it when they don't have it. Uh, and for a lot of it, you see these shows like Doomsday Preppers. A lot of it's a little bit over the top, a little bit exaggerated, but uh, very sensationalized. But what you see is that you have people who are, uh, uh, I don't know, how do I explain this? Let me think the right way. Yeah. You have people who are being put out there as having an abundance of things. So they're naturally going to be targets. Anyone who says they're a prepper, anyone like me or any of these other number guys on YouTube will locally be seen as a threat. I seen a video from Demcad where he was talking to people. Or he's just walking up the street filming a video. And these guys were like, hey, aren't you that guy that puts those videos on YouTube? And the thing about it is, everyone knows that Demcad's a prepper. People in his neighborhood now know that he's in their neighborhood, that he's right there because he went up and talked to him. Now, here's the thing about it. Do you think that if these are the unprepared or sort of prepared people, especially if they're the sort of prepared with guns type, that when they don't have enough, that they're not going to come looking for Demcad because, he prepared? Yeah, well, they know he's got an AK. But then we go in this whole thing, was brought up with Snake Mouth Charlie about I got numbers, and hell, they might have AKs. Demcad's revealed his capabilities or some of his capabilities, and that in a way might be a potential threat to him. And shows like Doomsday Preppers, which sensationalize the preppers as having this abundance of things, actually makes anyone into preparation and survival a target of criminally minded people who aren't going to prepare. They're just going to try to take from others who have. It's an interesting thought. I mean, think about it. If this is a situation, it's almost like I don't know if anyone's ever been herring. It's where you let a rabbit loose, you let a dog loose after it to chase it down, and you sit around betting over whether or not the rabbit gets away or the dog catches it. Usually 9 times out of 10, the rabbit gets away. The rabbit's running for his life, the dog's only running for his meal. But it's like this. You can take a dog, and you can starve him a couple of days to where his belly is just growling and eating itself. And he's getting mean and nasty because he ain't ate in a minute. You sit there and eat in front of him. Especially if he's used to eating hamburgers and hot dogs, because you give him scraps and he knows what they are and he watches you eat them right in front of him. That's just going to make him all the more hungrier. It's going to make him feel like he's going to need to eat or he's going to die. Then you let the rabbit go. Let the dog go after him. 9 times out of 10, you do a dog like that, he'll catch that rabbit because he's not chasing his meal. He's chasing something he needs to live. You put out Doomsday Preppers, you put out preparation and survival like it's some big thing to where these people have such a huge abundance of everything. And what you get is you get a publicized idea of what a target is. You're taking people who, when they become the unprepared and the sort of prepared who will become the next wave of unprepared, who are going to go out there and are going to look at people who have something, who are prepared, even marginally prepared. They're going to look at disaster preppers and other people who are sort of prepared, but a little bit more, a little bit in between that gray area of sort of prepared and disaster prepared. They're going to look at them and think they have this massive abundance of things, and there's going to be the people that want to go hit. They're going to look at disaster prepared as if they're doomsday preppers. They're going to expect a whole mass of other things, and that's going to cause conflicts and squabbles and fighting and chaos. And it's almost, I almost wonder if it's by design. There's that paranoid conspiracy theories. Maybe this is design. Maybe people are doing this on purpose, or maybe preparation and survival has become such a big deal over the last few years because of things like Katrina and Superstorm Sandy and the state of the economy and everything else. Because believe me, there's going to be an economic collapse. I think hell, you look at the government now. All they're doing is making excuses and finding a way to just pull the band-aid off slowly, rather than just ripping it off. And when that band-aid comes off, uh, there's going to be chaos. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be issues and problems. That's why most of my videos lately have been more focused around survival and preparation than dealing with the martial arts stuff. I feel there's more of a need for the survival and preparation material. I still write my martial arts books. I still publish them, but I'm more towards getting that survival information out there. Okay, well, just a little thought for everyone.